making any purchases, either in stores or online, to shun fast food, getting gas for a full day. I know. That look on your face says it all. You're right. It's so fucking...
We had the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing... Let me finish, I give you a chance. The cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago.
One Trump wants to sell a visa, but first, let's talk about something even more shocking. Bill Maher just pulled off the unthinkable. He got CNN's Fareed Zakaria to admit, brace yourself, that some of Trump's policies were actually good for America. Cue the dramatic music. And the gasps echoing through the CNN green room. It all went down on real time with Bill Maher, where Zakaria squirmed, chuckled, and ultimately surrendered to reality, accidentally committing a bit of journalism in the process. It wasn't just an interview, it was a masterclass in irony. Maher was lobbing truth bombs while Zakaria awkwardly laughed at the mess his own network helped create. And honestly, it was glorious. So before we dive into this rare moment of media honesty, make sure to smash that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss more takedowns, hot takes, and moments that make the mainstream media squirm.
Wants to sell a visa, you get permanent residency. By the way, I looked this up, we are hardly the first country to do this. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But, you know, I remember...
Yeah, we actually have a version of it. It's called, I think it's called the EB-5 or something like that. So it's fine to do it. I actually think, maybe it's because I'm, very patriotic. I think 5 million, we should be charging 20 million, or, American citizenship is worth more than that.
It comes with Ukrainian minerals, though.
But what I love about Trump is, he said, you get the green card, but with this, the gold card, you get extra privileges. like what? You get to vote twice?
I don't know about you, but this one made me do a full double take. Fareed Zakaria, yes, that Fareed Zakaria from CNN, the network that practically schedules hourly Trump-bashing segments, actually admitted that Trump's gold card permanent residency policy is a good idea. Talk about a plot twist. This is the same guy who's criticized almost every move Trump ever made, from border walls to burger choices. But here's the kicker. It gets even juicier. Zakaria didn't just give credit where it's due. Oh no. He went a step further and casually suggested that the current $5 million price tag for Trump's gold card should be quadrupled to $20 million. That's right. He basically said, if you're rich and want to live in America, it better hurt a little more. Coming from someone who often preaches about equity and inclusivity, this take was rich. Pun 100% intended.
Well, now you're speaking Chicago language. I'm for it, but it's part of a bigger package on immigration reform. It's been 42 years since the last one. So I'm not against it, but it's part of a whole package.
Let me just pause here for a second, because I should have said this earlier. Bill Maher is sneakily brilliant. Seriously, the guy has Jedi-level skills when it comes to pulling the truth out of people. Just look at how he got two diehard lefties to admit, on air, that they actually liked a Trump policy. It was like watching a magician pull confessions out of thin air. And no, Maher didn't just stumble into that moment. He set the tone. He casually floated the gold card policy with a simple, hey, this one's actually smart. And boom, they followed his lead like political dominoes. Even Rahm Emanuel, the ultimate Democratic insider, jumped in and admitted it's been a long time since his party proposed something that made this much sense. A long time, Rahm? Really? Makes you wonder. What were they doing during all those years in power? Too busy virtue signaling to offer anything that actually worked, but here's the most interesting part. Rahm didn't stop there. Watch as he starts criticizing his own party's woke policies. On national TV, next Voice 4, it's starting to look like the left is turning on itself. And honestly, it's kind of entertaining to watch. For context, so you're not jumping in. Blind. During real time, Bill Maher dropped a brutal stat. Chicago's mayor has a jaw-dropping 6.6% approval rating. That's not just low, that's resign immediately and rethink your life choices. Low. Rahm Emanuel, former mayor himself, and no stranger to spinning a narrative, didn't even try to sugarcoat it. Instead, he smiled and threw his own party under the bus. He claimed the left has gotten so tangled up in pointless culture war battles that it's making the entire movement look out of touch, and frankly, toxic. Then came the rant. Oh, it was glorious. Rahm practically begged the woke crowd to stop turning every locker room and bathroom into a battleground, and maybe, just maybe, refocus on things that actually matter. You know? Like education, classrooms, reading, math, the basics. It was a rare moment of political sanity, dropped right in the middle of a live broadcast mic drop. The irony? It took a Democrat roasting his own side on HBO to finally say what millions of Americans have been thinking for years. And Rahm? He was just getting warmed up.
There is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of culture. They were all, which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster.
Yeah.
And our school, and I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
I agree. Is hilarious as this exchange has been, and trust me, it is. It's also deeply disheartening. Somewhere along the way, we became so afraid of offending anyone that we handed the steering wheel to a fringe minority of ideologues. These activists, wrapped in the language of progress, have cherry-picked studies and pushed shaky research to justify intrusive, often inappropriate agendas, like demanding access to women's bathrooms and locker rooms under the banner of inclusivity. Let's be real. We've tossed out common sense. We've abandoned long-standing values. And we've swallowed the ideological Kool-Aid without even blinking. Things that once seemed obvious, like protecting women's privacy and safety, are now labeled controversial, all to appease the loudest voices in the room, not the most reasonable. But here's the silver lining. It looks like the tide is finally starting to turn. Even high-profile figures on the left, people like Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria, are beginning to wake up. Maybe it's Trump. Maybe it's Bill Maher reluctantly stepping in as the voice of reason. Or maybe it's just reality finally breaking through the noise. Whatever the cause, the shift is happening. Shift is. And thank God for that, because someone finally is saying what millions of us have been thinking all along.
No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing. Let me finish. I'll give you a chance. Cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago. If you look at Democratic states, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? Streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Hey,
and I
live in L.A.
Bill Maher didn't just get them to admit, begrudgingly of course, that Trump might have actually done something right. He took it a step further. He got them to turn on each other. It was like watching a political episode of Survivor, with Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, tossing blame across the ideological table. The result? A live on-air unraveling of their own party's narrative. Listen closely. They start pointing fingers for the skyrocketing cost of living, small businesses drowning in red tape, inflation that refuses to quit, and taxes so punishing. They make you question your life choices. Suddenly, it's like they realized, wait.
Democrats have to own this and realize the answer to everything is not more taxes, more regulation. People are fed up of that, and they feel that it isn't working.
The Democrats, look, as somebody who produced the best graduation growth in the country. And we changed our high school.
You were a good mayor. I agree.
No, that's not the point. The point was we changed, but I'll take that. The point isn't the rules. The point is the results. And the party has gotten way too focused on what the rules are. And I do agree with you on this. We have made it impossible to function as a city or as a state